what would be the biggest tip you could give people? Because you're the first guy to make it through. Like, what is the biggest thing you can say to that? Like the first person.
Honestly, my goal was never to be first. It was just to pass it. But I think what I wanted to do was, I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I know I'm pretty fast when it comes to just like accelerating, like getting quickly ahead and stopping myself in time. So I said to myself, let me use that to my advantage and just gain as much ground. And like you said, it comes to a point where the physical side, your mental has to take over, because you're physically you're done. Like my body was physically done. Like my everything, my knees, my back, everything was hurting. But then you really have to tap in somewhere mentally where you're like, okay, just one more, and you have to keep telling yourself one more. And not saying eventually the pain will go away, but you will start to, the fear and everything will start to go away, and you will start to just how do I say, enter this flow state, enter like a flow state, a state of flow where you just do, you know what I mean? And I think that will carry you over for sure.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Just in Time for Storytime, a children's book community, but we're doing something a little different on this series. This is Just in Time for Storytime, Squid Games edition. As many of you know, I was a part of the Netflix Squid Games The Challenge that is out now, player 154 representing. And so I met so many great people and I have so many friends that I met during the show. And I was like, why can't we have some conversations, talk about our experiences? Because it was a once in a lifetime experience and it changed our lives. It's out in the world. We had to keep the secret for a year, but I'm gonna stop talking. So today, my guest, matter of fact, I'm just gonna bring him up. Here we go. Teo! Player one!
What is going on?
Welcome to the show!
Thank you so much for having me, Justin. It's a pleasure. Player 107 in the building, here with Justin.
Listen,
yeah. Oh man, what an experience, bro.
That the show is out. How are you feeling? It's crazy.
Bro, it's been such an amazing journey. Like what we went through, and to hold a secret for a year, knowing that we've done this, oh man, it was honestly, mentally and physically, the most challenging thing I've done in my life. But like I said, I met some amazing people, you being one of them, man. Bro, thank you for having me on the show and giving me your time. And yeah, let's just do this, bro.
So the whole purpose of Just in Time for Storytime Squid Games edition is, like I said, everybody sees parts on television, right? So everybody sees just bits and parts. It's a little bit edited. So this is kind of the tell-all where everybody kind of gets to talk about their personal experience, what actually kind of happened on the show, and like what your experience was, because there's so much that happened. So before we talk about the show, tell people a little bit about Teo, because Teo is that guy. He is that guy. Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a calisthenics / strength coach, so I've been personal training for a long time. I've also built like an online following where I teach calisthenics. I go by the name of Abnormal Beings, so that's kind of my brand. And yeah, literally, I'm just trying to inspire the world when it comes to fitness and health. And yeah, just applied on the show through like Instagram by chance. A friend of mine sent it to me, and then a couple stages later, and interviews later, managed to get the part. And then yeah, man, it was an amazing ride. That's me as a person, my journey, and bro, it was incredible, honestly. Like to win red light, green light, that was like the highlight, I think, for the show for me. And honestly, that was such a tough experience. Like honestly, that was no joke. Like what we went through, everyone that passed that game, honestly, hats off, because that was like insanely tough. So yeah, respect to everyone.
So hold up. So you just said so much that you're like skipping over, and I'm gonna your credit. So check out his Instagram. What is your Instagram again?
It's abnormal_beings.
And it's gonna be in the bio for the video below. But Teo is one of the, I need us to work out, because he is one of the most people. He's like out here like doing pull-ups sideways and just or is ridiculous 13 pack. out here, man.
Oh my god.
You know, so let's talk about it. We're going to talk about red light, green light in a minute. But
Yeah,
what
sure.
people don't know is we actually flew out. Well, I'm from the States. Where are you from again, Teo?
I'm from London, born and raised in London.
So let's start and talk about how it's a worldwide phenomenon, like a worldwide show, which was super cool to kind of show up, and the cast was from all over the world, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to the hotel about a week before.
Yeah, so
it's
about a week.
Start there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me, like I said, there was only a 30-minute train journey to get to the hotel. I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't expect them flying out that many Americans. Like it makes sense because I didn't realize. I thought to myself, okay, it's a Netflix show, so it's going to be pretty big. But I didn't realize the amount of effort they went into cast this show and like the amount of people they flew out. And it kind of hit me then and there, like in the hotel. I was like, wow, like this is legit. Like this is gonna be nuts because I've met people from all across the world that was in that one hotel, and like obviously we couldn't really talk that much because we were told like we have to save it for when we go enter the games and stuff. But while we were quarantining in that hotel, I realized that this is gonna be international. So it kind of like raised the bar with my expectations of the show and stuff. So yeah, that was kind of it. And then obviously, being in a hotel, like there were so many strict rules, like we couldn't talk to each other, and obviously we could only eat at like 3 times during that day, and we were just like locked up. It was like prison almost, but yeah, that was it for me.
And Taylor's putting it pretty nicely. The reality is it was, kind of like prison. So we would get to our hotel, right? We could not speak to anyone in line. We couldn't talk to anybody. They had security guards like on each floor. If you got into the elevator with another player, excuse me, I'm sick. Another security guard would get into the elevator with you so that they make sure you could not talk. You could not leave your room except to go eat. Can we talk about the food for a second in the hotel?
You know what? For me, it wasn't too bad. Like the food, luckily, like I don't need to eat like all the time. Like as long as I have, I think 3 meals a day, I think I'm good. And then what I did was I stocked up, so I would get like 2 portions of everything. So I just made sure that I had enough food, I guess, that would last me for the day. So I really stocked up. I had like 2 portions for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just to make sure that if I did get hungry, then I would actually have something to eat because they were very strict with that. So yeah.
Mark, see, I didn't know you could do that until like I caught on to like maybe day 3 because I was starving. So people would extra sausages, extra sausages and extra grit or what was it? Runny eggs and
runny eggs. Yeah. The food. Okay, it wasn't the best food, but at the same time, like I get it. Like it's hard to cater for everyone. Everyone's gonna have different dietary requirements. But no, I get what you're saying. That's why I made sure. Like I was like, I don't care. I need to get 2 portions because this is like there was no. I'm a big snacker as well, so I had no snacks. So I was like, I made sure I needed to get like a couple portions in and just take it with me to the room. So.
Got you. That was wild. So do you think that your training and conditioning prepared you? Because I do feel like the game started in the hotel. Like mentally, we're already kind of shut off from people. That's when it really started, was before we even start filming.
100%. I think from the hotel onwards, you had to have some sort of discipline because you had to follow the rules. Like it was totally out of your control. You're out of your comfort zone now, and then you just have to follow what they're saying, it was a great experience. Like the hotel room, luckily mine was good. The only problem with my hotel room, there was no hot water. It was a bit of a struggle to get some. But again, for me, it's like those minor things. It's not that big of a deal. Like I'll raise it with them, email, and see if they can fix it. And then if not, it's not a big issue. But yeah, man, no, it was a good experience, bro. How was your room for you?
Humble, he is humble. Okay, so we get through the week. We get through the week of like quarantining essentially and lockdown. And then we have to go downstairs, turn in our phones, turn in our computers. We get on this bus, drives us for, how long was that drive? Maybe like an hour, 2 hours?
Something like that, yeah. An hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah. It was outside of London.
In the middle of London, pitch black, could not talk on the bus. And then walk us through your experience, because I've talked about my experience a little bit, but like we get to this huge warehouse and that's when it all starts.
Yeah, so we got taken to this big, I think, army hangar that was in Bedfordshire or just outside of London. And bearing in mind, this was filmed in like January, February time, so it was really cold. Like it was proper cold. We did have heaters, luckily in the tent. Yeah, really cold. It was no joke. So my toes were already feeling it, and then we got put in the squibs, no? Was it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had our squibs on. We had like the jumpers and obviously just everything ready, like the full tracksuit and everything. And then they gave us like hand warmers and stuff. But even with them, it was still cold, and there was a lot of waiting around, as you can imagine. Like this is a whole big production, so it took quite a couple of hours before like we started to like line up and stuff, and obviously get like a lot of messages had to be relayed to us, instructions on what to do and whatnot. And then eventually, when we actually got to the start line, like we still had to do loads of different takes of certain shots, and it was before we actually managed to actually start the actual game. It was a whole long process. So we're already standing up for a long time. So it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough. Yeah.
And shout out to Netflix, because Netflix really did try to like handle it. I mean, it's the world's biggest cast on any television show ever, and 100%. I will say they did pretty good. I mean, it was freezing. Definitely. It was freezing, but it was just, and I think that was the excitement for me when it hit. Like, ooh, because that was the first time you really saw all the players in one place. Yeah. I think that was the first time we like had on our suits. And when he says squid on the show, that thing that blows up when you die. So they didn't tell us though that's what that was. They're just like, turn around.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't tell us. Yeah.
We didn't know what game we were going into.
That's true. Yeah, it was still very, very like covert, and right up until the end, like just last minute. So yeah, we didn't even know what they were, if they would like what would happen. So yeah, no, it was great. And then when actually doing it, I think that's when it got real. That's when I think when we did that first test run, because we had like they gave us like a little test to see like
they warmed us up. Yeah,
warmed us up. Yeah, they did a warm up and everything, and then that was good to kind of know how it felt like. But then when it started, that's when the mental and physical challenge happened. Like when I realized that we were standing on the spot for, it wasn't 5 minutes. It seemed like 5 minutes on the show, but we were stood still for like 20-30 minutes because they had to get all the shots. And it was no joke. Like if you moved, you're done. And like it's hard because anyone can do it in 5 minutes, but they had to cut off half the people. So yeah, man, it was tough.
So hold up. So Teo, you were the very first person over the line, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number one, first person over the line out of 400 and some people. But like, what was your strategy? Because we're in this huge airplane hangar. Like we're on this show. Cameras, lights, everything. We see this doll, which was way further than it looked, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, for me, I had no real all I wanted to do was pass it. I was like, okay, the one thing you can't do is just mess up straight away. Like I did not quarantine in this hotel for a week to go out straight away, So I was like, I try and get myself near the front-ish. So I wasn't right at the front. I think I was a row behind the front.
Okay.
And then I kind of messed up the first go. So my first position, I was like in a split stance. So I stood like this in like a lunge. So like one foot was more forward than the other. And when I was stood still for like 20-30 minutes, I swear the front of my knee, I was like, yo, I can't stand like this anymore. So I noticed another player in front of me who was standing like with both feet directly like here and hands in the pocket. And he seemed like he was chilling. So I was like, okay, next go, I need to do it like this. And I think that was the best tactic because your weight's like evenly distributed. So I just started to do that eventually. And then I realized that a lot of people that were the front at the start, they were getting popped because they were running too fast. They weren't stopping in time. So that kind of like was really bad. So I was like, you know what, let me just go at my own pace. And then eventually, like when I was like almost halfway, I noticed I was near the front and it was pretty open. And I was like, okay, now we're starting to, do it. So that was it.
No, Teo. That was it. You're trying to. He's making it sound like it was a cakewalk. I started at the very back. So what happened was the doll would do her thing, right? She would do her thing, which was terrifying, and it's still triggered to this day. But I had so much anxiety going into it, right? Like I started, and it was so many people. I started at the very back of the back. So after the first time, she stopped doing her thing, I still wasn't even over the line, bro.
Jeez, okay.
I was
Wow.
still over. So you were probably like halfway down, and I had just crossed the line. So it's so cool to hear your experience because you were in the front. I was like in the back.
Yeah.
And we weren't even moving. By the time she first stopped doing the first round, we weren't moving. But on the show, they make it seem like on the actual show, it was 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But for
100%.
us, like you said earlier, it was not just 5 minutes.
No chance. Like, I mean, they needed a way, obviously, to cut people off. So again, it makes sense. Like, we had to really like fight through it, and it makes sense. At the end of the day, we signed up for this challenge. It's the challenge. It's meant to be challenging and tough. So yeah, but it was honestly, I had to really dig deep mentally. Like that physically pushed me as well to like my limits. So I think the reason why I done it so fast was because I was like, listen, if I stand another like 30 minutes, my back is gonna explode. I was like, so I started to bolt it.
So how long did you play?
I mean, I think it took me like 2.5, 3 hours to do.
I played for 7. So I was in there for about 6 hours, bro. So you were the first person done. You know, there were like 8 that were done. I was like,
I heard
5th or 6th group. So
and that's why I commend you guys. Because honestly, like, I couldn't have done it for like 7 hours. That's literally my lower back was going to explode. I was like, that's why I had to start running towards I was taking bigger risks, but a lot of people initially at the start, when they were going too fast, a lot of them got out because they just didn't stop in time, and they were very accurate with it because I was like tracking people and seeing like I noticed a lot of people that didn't stop in time and they were getting popped eventually. So I think they did a really good job, like actually looking at everyone and the motion sensors as well around. They definitely picked up a lot of stuff.
I agree. A lot of people are saying that it was rigged. It was not rigged. They had, as someone who's made it through, they had a process where everything got checked. And so what happened was, around what happened, we would have to hold a position. Sometimes it was 10 minutes. Sometimes it was 30 minutes, 25 minutes, like a really long time where you had to stay still, y'all. Still. And if you move, it wouldn't necessarily go off right away. It would not necessarily go off right away. So you might have thought that you made it through that round and then it goes off.
And
now,
it goes off.
About the first time you heard this, we call it squibbing, but when people started dying.
Oh yeah, no. So literally, when I initially heard them go off, it was like it made you want to like jolt and move, but you had to like hold it down and stay still because loads of them were going off around you, and you're inside, you're just praying. You're like, even me, I was like trying to breathe so shallowly, so I did not move out of a muscle, you know. So it was very intense. It was crazy.
It was terrifying because it was all laughs and jokes, and everybody was excited. But when people started, going out of the game, it became, I mean, the best way I can describe it is like a war zone, but not in a crazy way, but like, it was a really cool thing because these are strangers around us, right? Mm-hmm. But you start to develop these silent rapport with people to get through. And I know that people, because it was such a big game area, there were people I didn't meet on the other side or my side or whatnot. And it was interesting because we started to like look at each other and be like, where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? Like, what you gonna do? I don't know. You were leading your own.
No, I was the same as well, to be honest. Like, I think, like I said, I picked up on certain people's like kind of like stances, and I realized like just having your hands in the pocket, keeping them warm, and obviously they can't move, and then just standing like directly on the weight evenly distributed. That was the best way to go. So I saw people like dive and throw themselves on the floor, and I was like, bro, like this is. It's not. The floor was cold as well. I was seeing people's hands turn like blue. I was like, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah. Now what you guys. Like, this is where we keep it very real on Just in Time for Story Time. So during red light, green light, it was a very long time and it was a very cold time. It was a little bit colder than they expected. I think they admitted it was like a cold front came through. Yeah. And I didn't know that if you stand up like with your knees locked out too long, you pass out. So, there were people with, no one wants to move. Nobody, you're terrified to move. You're terrified to breathe, like Teo said. And so people started to kind of pass out because they were not breathing or they were like locking their legs out too long. Yeah. And as a player, we had to quickly adapt our process. I think everybody had a game plan going into it. But I think after that first round, we all, like you said, quickly realized that like, this is not, I have to figure it out. And you have to figure it out right away or else you're going to get
literally 100%. There was no like, okay, you need to like trial out this or that. You had to make it work, otherwise you're done. So I've seen a lot of people going sideways. I think a lot of people before were practicing certain things or what they're gonna do, and I think as soon as the game started, that all went out the window. It's like literally survival of the fittest. You have to be just like in the moment, just do it and not, you know what I mean, worry about anything else. You just have to like really firm it and try your best. But it was tough. It was brutal, man. A lot of people were getting popped. Like it was savage. It was savage.
Yeah. As you all saw that round where literally like 20, 30 people went out. Like pop, 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 pop. It was the most terrifying. I made it out. So a little bit about my story, like Teo, is I started way behind the line. And I counted myself out from the very beginning, right? I was just like, oh, there's no way. I'm in okay shape, but I'm no Teo out here. I'm no Teo. His Instagram, but check him out, y'all. But it mentally and physically, I think even more than physically, it was mental. And I think people are gonna watch this and be like, I can do it. There were ex-NBA players, Olympians, athletes, like everyone said it was the hardest thing. People have gone to war and they said this was the hardest thing they have ever done. It was.
You know what I say to people? I say, you know what? Okay, just practice standing on a spot for 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, you're not going to do it one because it's very boring. Like I had to think of ways to entertain myself while I was standing still because it was not. Like, I was starting to count to like 100 or 200 or just like look at certain. You know what I mean? Just things to, or just like try and dream in my. You know what I mean? Somehow, or just like take my mind off it. But honestly, it's very boring to stand like that still, and you have to stand. You can't move a muscle. I tell someone just practice, just stand still for 30 minutes. And then and then try and move like 150 meters because that's how far we had to go. 100 meters. It was big, so it was no joke. Like honestly, I think like you said, when I was talking to everyone, like people that you said that went to war, they said this was harder than that, which is insane to think. So I was just honestly grateful to pass that, and honestly, like anyone that passed that, you have my utmost respect because that was
same.
No joke.
Anybody who participated, but if you got through red light, green light, like it was just next level. Like I like to tell people I learned so much about like my inner strength from that. Like I didn't realize I'm a cool dude. Like I didn't realize like how strong I was mentally because you really do have to tap into another place when your body is done. My body gave up. My body was like, nope, I'm not here. And then my mind took over and to tap into that because people were running and diving, and then your support system around you is dropping like flies. Like
100%.
Dropping like flies. So what would be the biggest tip you could give people? Because you're the first guy to make it through. Like what is the biggest thing you can say to that? Like the first person.
Honestly, my goal was never to be first. It was just to pass it. But I think what I wanted to do was I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I know I'm pretty fast when it comes to just like accelerating, like getting quickly ahead and stopping myself in time. So I said to myself, let me use that to my advantage and just gain as much ground. And like you said, it comes to a point where the physical side, your mental has to take over because you're physically you're done. Like my body was physically done. Like my everything, my knees, my back, everything was hurting. But then you really have to tap in somewhere mentally where you're like, okay, just one more, and you have to keep telling yourself one more. And not saying eventually the pain will go away, but you will start to, the fear and everything will start to go away, and you will start to just how do I say, enter this flow state, enter like a flow state, a state of flow where you just do, you know what I mean? And I think that will carry you over for sure. So that's kind of like how I
great life advice. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just have to do and go and like let everything happen that's gonna happen. Because I was the same way. Like I said, I counted myself out, and then I was halfway, and I was like, wait a minute, I can do this. And then I was 3/4 of the way. And I remember the last round before I passed, I was like, I have to make it this next round because I don't have another 30 minutes in me. Like if I don't make it, and the round after me is the round where all those people got out. And I was like, they throw some tricks in there because I was timing it. It was about like maybe 5 seconds. She would do her thing. And then like they did one where she was like 1 second. And that's where you went around because you were chilling in a hotel.
So I heard that there was like a mass elimination because they sped it up the music as well at certain points,
Yeah,
and I was lucky that I
yeah,
didn't catch that because
yeah,
yeah, that would
yeah.
have messed me up. Like,
They got a bunch of people out.
damn, that's crazy. That
Well, congratulations to you, man, on
that
that part. But that was just the beginning. All right. What happened next? Tell people what happened next.
oh man, next was just it was a lot of it was first like a dorm day, so obviously we're in the dorms. We
Whoa,
managed
whoa,
to
whoa, 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 whoa. Run it
oh
back.
before
Yeah.
okay
So
yeah, yeah.
talk about walking into the game, the dorm area.
Incredible. Like hats off to the Netflix team, Studio Lambert. Honestly, what they created was insane. Like legit. I think like my reaction was if you see in the trailer, I'm like, oh yo, like literally that was like my honest reaction. It was insane. They literally recreated the real life, like exactly what it looked like in the show. It was
Mhm.
nuts. How was it for you, bro? Like
My God, thanks for asking. But
yeah,
it was mind blowing. Like it
yeah,
exactly what you see on the show, like the
yeah.
actual show, and then of course, and
Mhm.
it looked just like it. And it was like once we were in dorms on set, you were in. Like we never left again. There's no more hotels. Like
Yeah.
that was the game. And like you walking around to explore everything, like to the bathrooms, to the dorms, to the showers, to
Yeah.
the where we're like chores, where we're making orange juice, all that stuff. Like it was all one huge set that you did not leave.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, it was insane. What they created was amazing. From like you said, the beds, the bunk beds. I didn't expect them to actually create those bunk beds, but it worked. Like it was nuts. And then the showers, like you
Yeah.
said, the toilets, like it was just a massive, like you said, immersive experience. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's when the game started. Like literally,
It
we were
started.
mic'd up. We got told like every 4 hours, mic change batteries or whatever, and then we get our meal times at certain times, and then that's it. You just had to mingle and get to know people.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Legit, that's how it was. There was no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just had to just get on with it.
That's what you see on the show is like you see our reaction. They have the money come down from the ceiling.
Mhm.
That's all genuine reactions. Like none of that
Yeah.
was rehearsed. None of that was
No.
planned. We didn't shoot that multiple times. Like that was
Yeah.
all genuine. And then the guards walk out, and you're just like, oh, I remember my heart was like in my stomach on the floor. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is the wildest thing. Like I'm in the middle of London. For me, I'm out of the country, right? I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. So
Yeah.
I'm just a children's book author writing books. And now I'm in the middle of London in this bunker with my friend Teo. And we're about to do this thing. And it was just wild. Like, okay, so y'all, I'm talking fast because I got so many questions for Teo. Y'all understand? Like, because everybody's experience was so different.
Yeah.
So I imagine that was the first time you've ever been without a cell phone, without TV, talking to family. We were cut out from the entire world. How was
Yeah.
that?
I can't even lie. For me, it was like a nice break because a lot of my work as well. I do a lot of social media work, so it's like it's nice to get away from that kind of phone. You know what I mean? And just be yourself and just get to know people. And it was like you said. I feel like when it comes to bonding with people, it was a lot deeper. Like the social connections were a lot stronger because there was no distractions. Like there was no, you know what I mean? You were really 24/7 around these people and you got to know some really cool people in a short period of time. So that's one thing I really like enjoyed about the experience, like just the actual socializing of it all. And like you said, getting away from the phones and stuff. So.
Yeah. And it was cool to me because it's a situation where you don't get to we're all wearing the same thing. We don't know anybody's social. We don't know these people. I think in society we're able to size someone up before we meet them. So we see them on Instagram, we see them on YouTube, we whatever. But we're all literally wearing the same thing. Girls have no makeup on. We're all tired, hungry. Excuse me. We're all tired, hungry, and we've just gone through this traumatic experience that was red light, green light. And I tell people, I got closer to people in 3 days than I have my entire life. And I think that's the beautiful thing about humanity, when like you just have to rely on each other. And there were grown men crying, women crying, like people opening up, people detoxing, you know what I mean? Because there was no alcohol, nothing like that. And that was a beautiful thing to see.
100%. It's like you said, like all the pressures of life, external life is gone. Like all you are is you in this moment and with a bunch of people. And it was like you said, almost a therapy for a lot of people because they're away from the stresses of the outside world, you know. So it was amazing. Like I said, I met some incredible people, and like I said, hats off to Studio Lambert and Netflix because they casted it. So everyone has such an interesting story, and like you said, like we couldn't notice because we were just wearing the same like tracksuits, so we couldn't judge anyone. You know, we just had to talk, and yeah, it was great. That's one thing that was amazing.
And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they missed the point of the show," or "Oh, that's not what it was about." But honestly, I think they did a great job of showing humanity and like how it works, and that people are good people, and that people are sometimes their circumstances, or people are the things that have happened to them. You know, everyone says, "Oh, they missed the whole point of the show," yada yada yada. But the reality is, it restored my faith in mankind, humankind. People are good. People are sometimes their situation and their circumstances, but people are innately good people. And I think I met so many great people during this show. So that's my little mushy moment. But
100%.
what was your gameplay, like strategy wise, going into the game? Did you have strategy you wanted to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, the strategy was to just get to know everyone. Like if I can, just try strike a conversation with as many people as possible, and not to form alliances too early. Like I think I tried to almost become like a lone kind of wolf type of person, if that makes sense. I don't know if that was the best tactic, but again, it was just I wanted to suss people out and just just get to know everyone there really. And I think what helped me kind of like mingle with a lot of people is obviously passing red light, green light first. Then you do get a lot of attention in the dorms in terms of people like might recognize you. So to kind of like strike up conversation, it was pretty easy. They'll be like, "Oh, hey, you're the guy that passed further," and it was quite easy to kind of generate conversation. You know what I mean? So I think that was a good thing at the start. And obviously, like people did want to like potentially team up with me, obviously because they see certain strength and whatnot. But I just didn't want to form any alliances too early. So my kind of goal was to just like, just mingle with everyone, really, talk and everyone. What about you?
And so what people I had no strategy. My strategy was just next day. Like my strategy just because what you see on the show is me really embracing my story and living in my truth. And I think I was going through a time where right before the show, a lot had happened in my personal life with me accepting who I was, like losing relationships with a lot of people. So I was still kind of dealing with that. And then to go on the show and to be myself and people accept me for that, it was just such a highlight for me in my life at that time. And it was like therapy in a sense for me at that time. But yeah, I had no gameplay. My gameplay was just be myself. I said, I'm just going to be myself. And if that works, either people are going to like me, people won't. And I met so many great people that way. As you guys know, I got eliminated on that darn cookie. But speaking of cookies, we up to cookies. So in the dorms, we never knew what was going to happen. Like the stuff would happen randomly at random times. We just kind of walked around. They would take you and pull you to do an interview and different things like that from time to time. But music would play, and that's when we knew it's all crap. Here we go. That orchestral arrangement would play.
Yeah, literally. That gives me PTSD, man. I said that.
Our orchestral arrangement would play, and then we would line up or what? Attention, players, please come to the man. It was everything you see on the show was exactly like that. But the first game after red light, green light was cookies for Dalgona. And we walk into that room, and I think on the show, the actual TV series, they go in that room before they go into, was it tug of war or something like that? Or But for us on the show, we went into that room before every game. So we didn't know. If you look on the walls of the show or in the dorms, there's little like hints and things. And in the walls of the dorm, there were other things that we saw, like a boat. Now we know that's battleships, but we didn't know at that time. So everyone's trying to figure out what stuff was. But we walk into that white room. What was that like for you, walking into the white room?
Yeah, that was wild. Honestly, when they just had literally, you just walk in the room, they wouldn't say nothing, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're like, okay, like, what's happening here? Like, what do we do? So, eventually you have to pick like kind of like what line to stand in, and I mean, like for me, I'm an idiot. Like obviously, um, four is like considered like an unlucky or bad number, right?
Mhm.
So I
And it
for me,
was this game,
yeah,
yeah.
it was like I think I'm born on the 4th of August, so I was like, you know what,
The
let me
4th
go
of
with number
August, that
four.
makes you
I'm a Leo.
oh, he's a fire sign. All right, all right,
Yeah,
all right.
fine, so, yeah, no,
I'm a
but
Sag.
like,
I'm a
but
Sagittarius. I knew I felt
man,
good energy. Yeah.
no, but like for me, it was like I don't know, like for me, four. I love the number four, so I was like, let me go on number four line. But yeah, that was such an L. I should never have done that. When I look back, I should have known better. But yeah, anyways, that was the umbrella line, unfortunately. So yeah, man, it was
Oh,
pretty rough.
hold up. So you get in there and we like you see our reactions where we're all like, oh my genuine. All
Yeah.
genuine, none of that's fake.
Yep.
I think Netflix did a really good job of not telling us anything. Like nothing was
Hmm.
rehearsed or coached
Yep.
at all. And so, I was in the triangle line, and I'm so
Hmm.
embarrassed to even say I was in
No,
triangle.
it's all
Um,
good.
that triangle took me out. I can't look at triangles to this day, but not talking about that.
Okay.
No, so you were in the. So not only were you the first guy to make it across, you
Yeah.
also got past umbrella. What was your
Bruh.
strategy for umbrella, bro?
But it was just like stay positive and just give it your best shot. Like
Yeah,
honestly, it was tough. Like I heard loads of people been practicing and you know what I mean, baking cookies at home, and I'm like, I didn't do any of that. I was just
you're not a
literally
baker. You didn't bake.
no, I didn't bake. I didn't bake. But I think what helped was we got put in different quadrants to like because
Mhm,
obviously they had to film the shots. So like the first group I guess could like they had to like luckily I was in the second group, so I can
mhm,
kind of like see how people were doing it and get
mhm,
like tactics, not tactics in a way, but you know what I mean. Like
mhm.
you kind of saw how it unfolded, and then literally you just had to use loads of saliva and spit and just go for it, and like a lot umbrella it took a lot of people out because it was tough, like it was
Yeah,
no joke. Like
absolutely. Mhm,
I had like literally like 30 or like 20 seconds left and when I finally like managed to get the full
mhm,
thing out,
mhm.
but it was tough, man. Like literally i was I was so close to just being
Mhm.
done, so
Done. Yeah.
yeah, it was mad.
So did you like? Because you see on the show, people are spitting on it, licking the back. Did you do all of that?
Yeah, literally licked it from
We see you on
that
the show. We see you on the show going at it.
yeah, literally, like they were proper zooming in on everything. There was no privacy, but you just had to go for it. And then I think that the best tactic was for me, it was like licking a little bit of the base and then the needle, and then just like
Mhm.
going over it. But the main thing was you had to build up a lot of saliva,
Yeah.
because that's what would really like dissolve the,
Love
the,
it.
the thing. So yeah, I think just loads and loads of saliva was the key,
Mhm.
and as long as you did that in that time, then you were kind of good. But yeah, you had to be careful as well because a lot of people's things were
Yeah,
snapping
you
as
all had
well.
little stems on those umbrellas. Now the cookies were interesting. So I had Triangle,
Yeah.
and Triangle actually took out as almost as many people as Umbrella, I think. So
Jeez.
I don't know what it was about the Triangle, but those cookies were
Mm.
different. Like I
Yeah,
still
yeah,
say the cookies were different. Like some were thicker, some were thinner, some were
yeah.
darker, some were lighter.
It was hard to. I think it was hard for them to obviously bake the same cookie. Like it's tough. Like none of them are going to be exactly the same, But yeah, you're right. I think yeah, some of the yeah, it's hard in that sense. I think when it comes to it, it was by chance. Like either you got a good one or a bad one because we ended up they just gave us, you know what I mean? Like we just picked
Yeah,
from the thing and
that's
that's
it.
it.
Yeah.
So that's all we can do really. And then yeah, a lot of it, like I said, all the games were down to luck. Like
Yeah.
I got out
It was
the one
luck.
after
Yeah.
battling, so yeah, it was luck.
It was pure
But
luck. And like I said, I remember I held my cookie up to the light. And
yeah,
so some people could see like the outline of their I could see nothing. I could see
uh
nothing when I held my cookie up. Could you see the outline of your umbrella?
yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, I tried to keep mine in the tin a lot of the time because
I'm not touching this
and
thing.
then yeah. So the start, I think I licked like the base a lot, and I
Mhm.
got the base really wet, and then I kept it in the tin, and then that's when I started to like edge everything out, and I really keep spitting on it,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and that helped a lot. But I think at one point you can kind of see like it getting getting lighter and lighter, if that makes sense. But for me, I noticed that scraping away wasn't doing much. Like you just had to trust it and let it dissolve. But then when you see the timer going down, you start to panic. And like I think that's what got people out a lot in space.
Oh, that timer,
they start to rush. Yeah, so you had to like really just let it dissolve, and the saliva done most of the work, honestly.
That's where I messed up, Teo. I like now talking to you. That's where I messed up because I picked it up. I licked the back, lick. You see, I had Lorenzo in the room with me. Lorenzo was going at that thing.
Yeah.
I had my little crew in there with the corner, which was Jada and Kyle was in there with me, and I lick, and then I also spit on top of it, so like I could. So my cookie was turning into like a syrup essentially, and so I started to scrape. A whole side pops off, like we're good, like clean popped off. I was like, oh my god, shaking, all that stuff, and I start to go on that second side, and I don't know if it was like my hand got too heavy or what happened. A crack shot straight up through the middle of that triangle, and I was just like,
oh no.
And I'll never forget, I looked at Kyle, and I'm interviewing Kyle too, y'all. So check out that interview. And Jada, check out that interview. But I looked at Kyle because Kyle and I were really close in the game, and like tears are in his eyes. And I'm just like, no. And like everybody around me was just like, I was like, y'all, keep going. And they all made it through. But that was it was a sigh of relief at the same time because I was walking around with stress. But at the same time, it was like, dang, I really wanted to go further than that darn cookie. But you make it through the cookie, which congratulations to you. You make it through. First got to run through. Got to get through Umbrella, which only like a handful of people made it through, as y'all see on the show.
Yeah.
You get back to the dorms. Beds are gone. Now, this is where you have to like help me because I'm out. I die at this point.
Yeah, no, you know what? It felt a lot emptier. Like you could kind of sense the emptiness now, and it was really empty. But I think Battleships, that was the game that kind of like it was out of my hands. It was out of our hands. So what happened was when we get back to the dorm, everyone's talking about their experience, what happened. Then obviously the next day we had like another like I think it was elimination or like some drama happened. I think it was 198.
The telephone.
Yeah, the telephone. Yeah, the telephone. That was a whole madness. And then
that was 198.
Yeah, 198. So
that guy. No comment. No comment. Unless you want to comment, I have no comment.
No, you know what? For him, luckily, like I had no problems with him. Like he didn't really like affect me in any way in the show. So
yeah, I didn't.
But I think a lot of people disliked him for some reason. So yeah, man. I mean, he tried to give a favor like a treat or like a cookie. And I think what they said on the phone was if you don't manage to get him to eat it, then you get eliminated. So obviously, Favor didn't take it. Everyone was like, "Oh, don't eat it."
Come to the phone, and we're like,
And so we I think it was the fourth ring. So because what happened was that it rung like loads of different times, and like what would happen is someone would pick it up and they'll get like a treat, some food like pizza, hamburgers, whatever. So it kept doing that, and then obviously kind of like it's
out throughout the day.
Yeah, it was spread out throughout the day, so they were reeling people in. So like people were like, oh damn, like I could have got food, I could have got this. So everyone's really hungry at this point as well.
Yeah.
And then the fourth ring, I should have known, number 4, unlucky number. So yeah, literally on that fourth ring, I think Hussein picked up and was like, yeah, he must have had to give Favor something to eat, and then otherwise, if Favor didn't eat it, then he's eliminated. So that's what happened anyway.
That was his friend, I think, initially.
Yeah, it must have been. That's crazy. I didn't even know they were friends.
Like he was like trying to get his friend out. I was like, my God.
Yeah.
Because what they don't show on the show is a lot of friendships were formed. You guys are not seeing that we're literally just sitting around in each other's beds all day, just talking about life. So we got really close to these people really quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
And so I was fortunate because I left the game when it was still kind of kumbaya. It was still very much love and light. But pretty much after that, I think that's when people, and you can speak to that. I think is that when people really started to see like.
I think you know what it is. I think it starts to get a bit more real, but I think for me, after the Battleships, I think that's when it started to get even more competitive and people start to become more snaky. Luckily, I think when my time when I got cut was then that's when it was still kind of everyone was like, oh yeah, come on, you can do this, like still uplifting and supportive.
Yeah.
But I think after that, when the numbers are really low, that's when it starts to get, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. So you
but
walk.
battle.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go. Oh no. So yeah. So after that whole dorm drama, then the next day was the challenge. That's when battleships happened.
Correct.
And we all thought it was going to be tug of war.
Right. Because we're following the show. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and then there was loads of different lines. I think there was 8 lines, 8 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8. And then we had to stand on the lines. And like, obviously I think beforehand, we're trying to like see who's on certain teams for tug of war. And then
y'all are thinking it's tug of
war.
Y'all
exactly.
Like sizing it up. Yeah.
So you see a bunch of big guys in one line, and obviously I'm with like certain people that I vibe with, you know, like I'm there with Camilla, with Saeed, with Ginu, some other people, all these characters that I'm cool with and stuff, and like I saw Chaz was in our line as well, and he was friends with a bunch of girls as well, but he's like a big dude as well. And I was like, you know what, I'm comfortable, happy in this line, so I'm gonna stay
You're
there.
strong,
but I can't lie.
Strong guy, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm confident. But and at one point as well, I was looking at the big guys line. I was like, oh man, like it would, you know what I mean? I was like tempted to move. But I was like, at the same time, I didn't know what to expect. Like for health and safety, in the back of my mind, I was thinking it can't be tug of war as well, because it's got to be like, apparently for health and safety, they can't, like, you know what I mean? They shouldn't do that. So a part of me believed it was tug of war, but then at the same time, I was like, what if? So I was just happy chilling in the line. But there was a whole drama because there was too many people in certain lines. And basically, if there was 15 or more, and you didn't make a decision in 10 minutes, then the whole line gets eliminated. So like, people were kicking people out of our line. Like I think some people, I can't remember, but literally like
a lot of friendships and stuff. Because I know like with Kyle, it was Kyle, Dylan, Rob, Melissa, some of them, they were together and had to split up, and that impacted them a lot.
100%. And I think Figgy and Brownie in our line, they were really like, you know what, like, don't mess up my chance of being in here because you're trying to jump in our line. They were really like going at it, like so I think poor Honor, I think he had to move out the line, and luckily all the lines were even, and then we find out it's battle. Well, we match up with each other, so they pick out the balls and like who's facing who, and then when we finally eventually do our turn to do the battleships, we realize, okay, it's not tug of war, it's like a virtual board game.
Huge battleship, which on the show it does. Is it? Because I wasn't there, I was dead at this point. But you know, is it as huge as it is on the show that we see?
Oh yeah, it's massive. It's like a real human-sized battleship board, and I was just again like, I'm just in awe with all the sets. I'm just like, you guys smashed it, man. Yeah, like literally, it was insane. So I was like, yo, like literally, this is crazy. And then I think when we had to basically how it worked was we had to pick like a team leader, a captain that would play on our behalves. So you had to really put your trust in someone else, and that's the hard thing for me, because obviously like it's out of my control. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally having to trust someone else, and that's the nature of these games. That they're testing. You know, they really tell a lot about you as a character and person.
It does.
You have to really like just, you know, trust someone else now, and you know, let them decide. So we were deciding on captains and stuff, and I honestly, Brownie made a really great case. Like she was like, "Oh, my whole family's in the Navy. Like, I've been playing battleships all my life."
Shout out to Brownie, by the way. Shout out to Brownie.
Yeah. Make me captain. So I was like, you know what? I've got to back you. Like, if you're talking like this, then you must know what to do. And,
what you're doing.
Yeah, man. So and she made it very convincing to all of us that she'll be the one to do it. So I was like, you know what?
It is a chance game. Like, it really is up to chance, right? Like,
yeah, literally, it was shot. Yeah. So and then how it worked then was we picked our boats, and then we placed our boats in certain coordinates. And I was in a 3-person boat with Camilla, Said, and myself. And like you said, it's chance, man. So they were playing the game, but then what was a bit annoying was, I think Brownie, and Daryl at the time, they were just like they were a bit hesitant as to what to do, and I was like, oh man, like you said you were gonna do this, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, look, come on, it's down to chance. So I respect them for even stepping up. So but yeah, it was tough, man. Like I said, we were so close. Our game was so tight. So what was the sad thing was that our boat was the last one to get eliminated. So all they had to do
You were
was
feeling
eliminate
good.
2.
Y'all were feeling good.
Yeah, we were feeling good. There was only 2 boats that we had to eliminate. So we eliminated one, they eliminated one, and they eliminated like a 5-person boat. So there was like less chances for them to get like a 3-person or 2-person boat. So we were like literally one shot away. I think we knew exactly where the last one was, but they had to hit us first. And they had the same thing, and then they got our boat, the last one. So yeah, we got out. Me, Camilla.
Now, how was that when your boat sank? You know, we see on the whole thing. How was that for you?
For me, my initial reaction, I was like, you know what, I had to clap because I was like, I myself, I'm like, you know what, this was out of my control. Like I played a good game. Like I passed red light, green light first. I passed the umbrella.
Yeah.
You know, to even get here, I'm just grateful for the experience. And at that time as well, I was mad hungry. I can't lie. Like, I wanted some real food.
Where is the burger? Where is the burger?
Literally, I was like, listen, I'm out. Cool. Let me just look at the positives.
Let's eat.
Food now. I'm hungry, man. I lost about 4 kilos. I was struggling.
Did you? So we didn't talk about that because the food was very much like the show too. I mean, when the guard served us, like you see on the show, the guard served you porridge or oatmeal. Everyone's rations were different. You know, some people got a lot, some people got a little. It was like the show. We weren't eating ton, or like we had boiled chicken and like vegetables. That boiled chicken.
That was horrible. No seasoning, just
not
even salt. Not even salt. No salt, pepper.
And you had to eat it because that's all you. And there were people not eating. I was like, well, you got to eat it. You have to eat it.
You got to eat, man. I'm sorry. Like when it comes down to that, like it's survival, you know. So you can't complain. You just gotta eat. So I think that for me, the highlight meal was the rice and the egg. I love that one.
Did you? That's like health food. That's what you're used to eating anyway. You're like gains, baby. Like
I know, but it was just like I don't know. That was the tastiest meal because the rice had a little bit of oil. Okay, it was like salty. It had some taste. So I was like,
the egg was an egg. You know,
exactly. I was just like, it's sad to say, but I was looking forward to that meal. Like I think the worst was morning that porridge with water. And no honey, nothing. And I've got a sweet tooth, so I was craving a lot of sweet stuff. But yeah, what it is. But
so you get through Wars. Battleship is when it kind of all ends there for you. So first off, let me just say, congratulations to you, Teo. Player 107, my friend Teo.
No, thank you, Justin.
Because I'm proud of all of us that made it so far, and like you're doing it with a smile on your face, and like you've taken lessons. So like, what is the biggest lesson out of this whole experience that you walked away with?
I think the biggest thing was that I learned a lot about how far I can push my body and like building social connections in a way like that's very deep without the use of technology. I think that was a big one for me. Like how I bonded very deeply with these people in such a short period of time. I think that was like an eye opener. I was like, wow, like I really need to maybe spend a little bit less time away from my phone and just like take some more time for myself and for others. And I think that taught me a lot, like the game. Just mingling with people and just having that freedom to get to know all these amazing people. I think that's what I took like from it.
I agree. I second that, man, 1,000%. I learned so much about myself, but I mean, you got to be proud of yourself. You made it through some of the hardest games. I think after Triangle, everything else was up to chance. I think everything was a chance game and a people game too, because you definitely had to be liked or, you know, people started to turn on you. I missed all of that.